The Cybergirl archetype consists of various gymnastic, acrobatic, and dance-related athletes. The bulk of the archetype, however, was largely forgotten about in the real game, as it followed suit with the anime evolving Alexis' deck into a ritual-based one, known as Cyber Angels. Fun fact, Alexis is the only character in the show running a ritual-based deck in a series otherwise focused on the fusion mechanic. But while Alexis still runs her Cybergirls alongside her Cyber Angels, the real-life adaptation only has a very loose connection between the two series. So in this video, we're going to try and bring it all together. The Cybergirl part of the archetype, as in the ones that are sports-based, was released at the time of GX, and thus fairly outdated. There isn't much to write about here since it largely requires a massive overhaul, but one thing that did stick out to me was the fusion boss, Cyber Blader, who gains this incredibly powerful effect when your opponent controls exactly 3 monsters, and that is that your opponent's activated card effects are negated. Now, in addition to the very fragile requirement, the card also has 2 bad materials that are required for its fusion summon. The Cyber Angels, meanwhile, weren't adapted until 2016, thus giving it a more modern flair. There are currently 6 Cyber Angel rituals, so I won't go through them all, but the most notable ones include Benton, who when tributed, nabs you a search of any Light Fairy from your deck, Dakini, who on summon makes your opponents send 1 monster they control to the grave, Natasha, who can take control of your opponent's monsters, and then the boss Vrash, who can wipe your opponent's board of extra deck monsters. The Cyber Angels, given their later release, are far more cohesive as an archetype, comprised of an abundance of search power in the form of Cyber Petite Angel, Cyber Egg Angel, and Ritual Sanctuary, in addition to the plethora of ritual support and fairy support like Preparation of Rites and Diviner of the Herald. Their spell lineup isn't the greatest, but worth mentioning here are the ritual spells Machine Angel Ritual and Absolute Ritual. The former works like an ordinary ritual spell, but also can be banished from the grave to save your light monsters from destruction. The latter can use monsters from your hand and field, but also shuffles back fairies and warriors from your grave into the deck, but requires the levels to be the exact match to the ritual. When I said that the Cybergirl series and Cyber Angel series have very little overlap, you're looking at the one instance where this is the case, since the Cyber Angels are all fairies, but the Cybergirls are all warriors. The premise of both series aren't exactly easy to pin down beyond their aesthetic. The Cybergirls, you could say, have a loose connection of attacking directly and general destruction effects. The Cyber Angels have the ritual and fairy connection, and then a few of them have battle-oriented effects like multiple attacks, attack gain, piercing, and the like. The custom support has 3 goals. First, each archetype should stand on its own, so you could theoretically run a pure Cybergirl deck, a pure Cyber Angel deck, or mix and match. In a sense, this makes it somewhat akin to heroes, which have different subsets but can be mixed together. The second goal is specifically to the Cybergirls, which is to focus their effects on those direct attacks and taking advantage of the potentially lethal effect of Cyber Blader. And the third goal is specifically to the Cyber Angels, which is simply to facilitate the ritual aspect with additional search and resource recuperation effects. The monster lineup starts off with the retrains of some of the original Cybergirls, starting with Blade Skater, becoming Cyber Skater. Her name is always Blade Skater to make fusion summoning Cyber Blader easier, but she's still considered a cyber monster to loop her into all the cards that reference cyber monsters, since technically Blade Skater would not be a cyber monster. On normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap that mentions Blade Skater from your deck, then take 500 damage. If you control a cyber monster that cannot be normal summoned, so that would be your fusions and your rituals, you can special summon her from your hand or grave to either field, but banish it when it leaves the field. So this is one of those ways where you can manipulate the number of monsters your opponent has in order to access the right effect of Cyber Blader, as well as the fusion we'll see here shortly. Next up is the return of Etoile Cyber, Cyber Stargirl. Like the previous, she always takes on the name of her original, and you can special summon her from hand if either player has taken damage this turn. Her second effect is a bit of an oddity, but again builds on the gimmick of manipulating the number of monsters your opponent controls. You give control of her and 1 other cyber monster you control to special summon 1 fusion monster that mentions Blade Skater from your extra deck. Next is Cyber Acrobat, which is the retrain of the Gymnast. You can reveal her in hand, send 1 Blade Skater or 1 Fairy or Warrior cyber monster from your deck to the grave, then special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, its name and level become the sent monsters until the end phase. So this makes her an easy candidate to use for fusion or ritual summoning, which feeds into her second effect, which is that when she is tributed or used as fusion material, you can add 1 Fairy or Warrior cyber monster from your deck to your hand, except Cyber Acrobat. Finally, we have Cyber Jumper, the retrain of Prima. If you control a Fairy or Warrior cyber monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned, you can target 1 Machine Angel card or 1 card that mentions Blade Skater on your field or in your grave and return it to your hand. So that could be any of the cards on your field or in your grave, or if you happen to have given one of your monsters that mentions Blade Skater to your opponent, you can retrieve that back as well. And finally, another way to add monsters to your opponent's field, which is when she in your possession is sent to the grave, you can special summon her to your opponent's field. Now for the fusion retrain, we have Cyber Figure, whose materials are any one of Blade Skater or Étoile Cyber, plus one other Cyber monster. When special summoned, you can target one fairy or warrior monster in your grave, special summon it to your opponent's field, then, like her predecessor, gains effects based on how many monsters your opponent controls, but unlike the original, these effects stack and aren't specific to the number. So if your opponent controls one or more, your opponent cannot target fusion monsters for attacks. If two or more, fusion and ritual monsters you control cannot be targeted by card effects, and if three or more, neither player can tribute summon or special summon monsters. So the basic idea of the Cybergirl specific variant of the deck is the gymnastics of getting out both fusions as well as three monsters to your opponent's field to access the best effect of Cyber Skater and all the floodgate effects of Cyber Figure. Between them, that means all your opponent's activated effects are negated, your fusions are safe from targeting and attacks, and your opponent can't manipulate the number of monsters they control by tribute or special summoning. So, how on earth do they break the lock? Well, simple really, they just need to normal summon a set of monsters. So yes, it's a fragile lock, but there is at least one way the deck can help you maintain exactly 3 on your opponent's field, and then it is up to your wonderful deck building skills to figure out what's the best way to make 3 monsters stick on your opponent's field in order to keep accessing the best effects of your Cyber Girl fusions. Now, before we get into the spells and traps, there is one new Cyber Angel monster, a level 2 ritual, Marici. This has the wonderful effect of tributing itself and one other Cyber monster from your hand or face-up field to add one Machine Angel spell or one Cyber Angel ritual monster from your deck to your hand. So some much needed assembly of the proper pieces, which is always pivotal for ritual-based decks. Its other effect lets you manipulate its level by revealing a ritual monster in your hand to change this card's level to the revealed monsters until the end phase. Spells start off with a couple of anime adaptations. Prima Light has the effect of tributing a fairy or warrior cyber monster you control to special summon one such monster with a different name from your deck. Its second effect activates in grave when your opponent summons a monster while you control a cyber fusion or ritual monster. Banish it from your grave to return that monster to the hand. So this is that aforementioned built-in way for the deck to manipulate the monsters your opponent controls when they try breaking the lock by summoning or setting a monster. Next up is Allegro Étoile, which is a quick play spell you can activate when you summon Blade Skater or a warrior cyber monster. It destroys one card your opponent controls in the column of that monster. Then you can add one Machine Angel spell trap or one spell trap that mentions Blade Skater from your deck to your hand, except another copy of itself. Grave effect, you can banish it from there to target one cyber monster you control, take damage equal to half its original attack, and if you do, it can attack directly that turn. Now we get into the fully custom, starting with Cyber Gym, a field spell which on activation lets you grab a Blade Skater or Warrior Cyber monster from your deck, then take 500 damage. At the start of your battle phase, you can target one monster you control. It can attack directly this turn, but any damage it inflicts this way is halved. And finally, at the end of the battle phase, you can special summon one Fairy or Warrior Cyber monster that can be normal summoned from your hand or grave to the field of a player who took damage this turn. Next is Cyber Gymnastics, a Secrets of Dark Magic-esque quick play spell for the archetype where you can either fusion summon an archetypal fusion monster or ritual summon by tributing cyber monsters from your hand or field. In either case, if either player has taken damage this turn, you can also use one monster from your deck as material or tribute. So that's where those inflicting damage to yourself effects from Cyber Gym and the retrained Blade Skater will especially come in handy. And then we have the Cyber Angel specific support, Machine Angel Chorus. This lets you show one Cyber Angel ritual monster from your hand or face-up field, shuffle it into the deck, then add Cyber Angel ritual monsters and or warrior cyber monsters with different names whose total levels equal the level of the shuffled monster from your deck to your hand. And then finally we have the Trap, which is another anime adaptation, Double Passe. When an opponent's monster attacks a monster you control, you can change it to a direct attack, then end the battle phase after the damage step. Second effect, if you have taken damage this turn, so another effect that takes advantage of you having taken damage, you can banish this card from your grave to add one card that mentions Blade Skater from your deck to your hand. Alright, let's go through a demonstration of the Cyber Girl deck. So this is going to be the portion of the deck that doesn't include the Cyber Angel side of things, so this is purely the original set of Cyber Girls. Opening up with Cyber Gym, Imperm, Allegro, Cyber Stargirl, and Cyber Acrobat. Let's activate the Cyber Gym. On activation, add Blade Skater or Warrior Cyber Monster from deck to hand, then take 500. So let's grab Cyber Skater. We'll take that 500 gladly. Use Cyber Stargirl's Cyber Acrobat's effect to reveal it in hand, send Blade Skater or a Fairy or Warrior Cyber Monster from deck to grave, then special summon this card. So we will go send the Jumper. That'll bring out the Acrobat to our field. Since Jumper in our possession was sent to the grave, we can special summon it to our opponent's side. So let's go ahead and do that. Let us now special summon Cyber Stargirl. So since we have taken damage this turn thanks to Cyber Gym, we can special summon her, and then we can normal summon Cyber Skater. So Cyber Skater will allow us on summon to add a spell trap that mentions Blade Skater from deck to hand. Let's grab Cyber Gymnastics. Use Stargirl's ability to switch control of itself and one other cyber monster to special summon a fusion monster that mentions Blade Skater from our extra deck. So we will give the Stargirl over as well as the Skater to bring out the OG fusion Cyber Blader. And while our opponent has 3 monsters, their activated card effects are negated. So we have that active at this point in time since we've given our opponent 3 monsters to work with. Not done yet though, we can continue to work with Cyber Gymnastics to fusion summon. Since we've taken damage this turn, we also take 500 from the Cyber Skater when we use her effect. So since we've taken damage this turn, we can use 1 monster from our deck as part of the fusion material. So we'll use that Cyber Acrobat, whose current name is Cyber Jumper. That doesn't really matter though. We'll send the Stargirl, who is always a 12 Cyber, from deck to grave to bring out the Cyber Figure, who takes Blade Skater at 12 Cyber plus 1 Cyber monster. And then since Cyber Acrobat was used as fusion material, we can add a Fairy or Warrior Cyber monster from deck to hand. So that'll be our setting up our next turn, Cyber Skater. So now we have our final field. Set that, of course. And so thanks to our opponent having 3 monsters on the field, they can't, or all their activated card effects are negated. So the very first thing that they're going to have to do if they want to be able to do anything is to normal summon or set a monster. The other thing that they can't do, no matter how many monsters that they have, 3 or more, they can't tribute summon or special summon monsters. They can't target our fusion ritual monsters with card effects, and they can't target our fusion monsters for attack. So they can't just ram these guys into us. And again, the only way to really change their monster, the number of monsters that they have, is to normal summon or set something. That's where something like Prima Light really comes in handy. Or really just the way you build the deck. Like instead of Imperm, if I had something that were to respond to my opponent setting or normal summoning a monster to get rid of it, to really do my best to make sure that my opponent doesn't have more or less than 3 monsters to be able to keep Cyber Blader's incredible Floodgate live. But that is just a demonstration of how to go about getting both of these fusions out while also making it so that your opponent has 3 monsters by virtue of you having given them those 3 monsters. And that is a demonstration of the Cyber Girl portion of the deck. Let's now jump to the Cyber Angels. Alright, so this is going to be the Cyber Angels alongside the Cyber Girls. So we're going to start off with Marici. Use her effect to tribute itself and one other Cyber monster from our hand or face-up field. Tribute that Benton to search out a Cyber Angel ritual. We'll get Vrash, and a Machine Angel spell will get Chorus. So there's the Chorus, and there's Vrash. And then since Benton was tributed, we get to add a Light Fairy monster from deck to hand. Let's go grab the Cyber Egg Angel. Activate the Machine Angel Chorus. Show 1 Cyber Angel ritual monster from our hand or face-up field. Reveal that Vrash. Shuffle it back into the deck to add Cyber Angel ritual monsters and or warrior cyber monsters with different names whose total levels equal to revealed monster, the shown monsters level. So that's going to be 10 in this case. Gone through the different iterations of how this goes. So 3 cards is the most you're going to be able to get with Chorus. In this case, we're going to go for a 4-4-2. 4 being the Cyber Skater, the next 4 being the Cyber Stargirl, and the 2 being a copy of Marici. So there's our 10. Normal summon that Cyber Egg Angel. Use its effect to grab the Absolute Ritual. We'll use Absolute to shuffle back Marici from our graveyard into the deck to summon the Marici that's in our hand, since thanks to Ritual's other alternate. You can either tribute monsters from your hand or field, and or shuffle fairy or warrior type monster from deck grave into the deck. So Marici being a fairy itself. Now, since we control a cyber monster that can't be normal summoned, we can special summon Cyber Skater, who on summon can add a spell or trap that mentions Blade Skater from deck to hand. We'll go grab Cyber Gymnastics and take 500 damage. We can special summon Cyber Etoile, or Cyber Stargirl, and then we can use Stargirl's effect to give it and one cyber monster that we control. We can give the Cyber Egg Angel to bring out either one of these. So we'll bring out Cyber Blader, and then we'll use Cyber Gymnastics to fusion summon using, since we've taken damage this turn, we can use one of the materials from our deck. So we'll use Cyber Skater alongside the Cyber Acrobat. To bring out the Cyber Figure. Alternatively, I could have sent Jumper to bring out Cyber Figure, and then Jumper would summon here, and then the combo would end right there. But just to show some other pieces of how the Cyber Angels and the Cyber Girls interact with each other, I'm going to go with Acrobat instead, because when Acrobat is used as fusion material, like we did with the other demonstration, we can add a fairy or warrior cyber monster from deck to hand. So let's go grab a ritual. And at this point, we can grab whichever ritual we wanted, because what we're going to do is we're going to use Marici's other effect to reveal that ritual monster, and this becomes level 10. So now we can use Machine Angel Ritual to tribute a level 10 to bring out a level 10, and now this is where our field is going to end now. So our opponent has two monsters, and so we're not going to get the best effects of Cyber Figure and Cyber Blader, but again, just showing the different interactions of how the Cyber Girls can feed into the combos of the Cyber Angels. And so that is a demonstration of the Cyber Angel side as well. So that does it for the Cyber Girl deck. Hope you enjoyed, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for 2 weeks from now. We're going from gym girls to total dolls.